Was that your own business, the record label thing, or you're working for someone else?
By the end, it was it was a bit. I was a 50-50 partner in the business, but I ran it. It was the rearrangement was that I basically ran it as if it were my own. I worked at this record label for a long time, and then we broke a piece of it off, and she gave me 50% of that, and that was like my thing. Black Swan Sounds, which still exists. She took it back, and it still exists, and it's still, you know, an active label, which I'm really happy about. I'm glad that I was able, but I just like hit a wall one day. It was just like, I'm not making any money. I'm not having any fun.
Yeah.
As one friend said, you're in the wrong quadrant. You know, like the quadrant of like, you want to be up and to the right.
Yeah.
Up and to the right. And I was not.
Yeah. And what was that like for you? Like, because there you sort of spun out into its own business, and then after that you were doing your own thing. Like, did you have people in your life that had started their own businesses? Like, was that something you'd thought of, was like having a business? Or because a lot of people, it's like,
really.
go get a job. Yeah.
I'd always been a good, like, I tend to like stay at places if I'm comfortable there. Like, I've been at KGNU for over, you know, for this year will be 31 years. And I mean, that place, that's a whole story and episode unto itself about the impact that place has had on my life. But I've been there for 30 years. I worked at a company called Sounds True for like 7.5 years. And then I've got a job at this record label, White Swan, that I only expected to work at for like a year or so. And I ended up working there for like 12.5 years. And then Black Swan spun off of that. So I was like in that for a really long time. And those are really like the only two like career jobs that I've ever had. And then after Black Swan, I tried to start a human curated streaming music service called Conduit. And again, there's like trying to, you know, use technology to deliver an analog experience, you know, like music selected by actual humans.
Yeah.
That was short-lived. And then after that, it was like, what am I supposed to do? I can't go get a job. Like, what do I, you know, I arrived at a point. In fact, I was at White Swan, and I was just like ready to pull the plug and just bail out of that company altogether, and just bail out of the music business altogether, and started working with a career coach to like start identifying like my next move. And then the owner of White Swan came to me and said, yeah, this Black Swan part of White Swan, what if you just take it? I'll just give it to you, you know, 50%. We'll have a plan for you to like take it over and just run it like it's your own from your house. And I was like, you know what, the energy it's going to take me to like prepare for and interview for and get a job, I might as well just work on this other thing that I've already got going.
That's cool.
And that's sort of where I'm at now in that equation, is like, okay, so Black Swan, that I worked on that, and then I was like, I can't do it anymore, and I was starting Conduit, so I jumped over to that. Can't do that, you know, that didn't work out. Now what am I can't get a job. I'm like, you know, I'm aged out, frankly. It's very difficult for someone my age to get a job, and that's just a cold hard fact. And I just don't feel like even going. I can't play that game. It's been so long.
Yeah.
And so to go back to your question of like, do I have any like entrepreneurial influence? Yes. My grandfather was a serial entrepreneur before that was even a thing.
Oh, cool.
And I've just realized, like, I've had a lot of business ideas, and some of them I've acted on, and and now here I am all of a sudden with like 4 or 5 businesses, and I'm like, oh yeah, Pop Dave, right? And my dad, he was an engineer, and he started his own engineering firm in Miami, and and did that, and that was his thing for my whole his most of his career was like Davis Engineers. So I definitely lived around my father and my grandfather
Yeah.
were started their own thing, and my dad was a cool super. I mean, I love my dad, I miss him every day, but we weren't really, we got along great. We weren't super like, we weren't like buddies. It wasn't like
Yeah.
that. He was definitely my more a father than a friend, but he loved me and we had a great relationship, and he was a hard worker, and I don't think I could ever be as hard a worker
Oh wow.
as he was. Whereas my grandfather, he worked hard, but he also liked to go to the pool hall and like hang out and just
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of more my style.
Yeah.
And my
Interesting.
dad, like right, like the summer before he passed away a few years back, we were talking. We were up in Vermont visiting my sister, and we were just talking. And he said, I'm always, I think that you're, because I was asking him, like, I was like, I hope I'm not disappointing you because I don't have some big career in my own business, and
Yeah.
and he's like, no way, man, you're doing great. You work hard, you make people happy, and he's like, you know what? And your grandfather didn't make it big till he was like around 50. He didn't
Yeah.
really like dial it in either.
Yeah.
And so now here I am, and
That's awesome.
things aren't like, I'm still not making much money, but I'm a hell of a lot happier
Yeah.
doing a bunch of different things that again just require like my time and energy and just me being me.
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
and to just it's taken me a long time to like to find that groove, to
Yeah.
settle into that, to be comfortable with that, to not be put, to start feeling good about what the things that I have done, because I have done some cool stuff, and the things I do like tend to spread joy with those, and I think that's like an important thing these days. And so I've just like given myself the permission to just like focus on those
Yeah.
and do more of that instead of like we've all got our checklist, right? Of like, here are the things that I want to get done, need to get done. And we can tend to focus on the unchecked boxes
Hmm.
and get caught up in that. And it's like, fair enough. But also look at the check boxes. I did check some boxes off. I did do some things. I did,
Yeah.
move today.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I think, is to just keep when I was at Black Swan, one of the artists I worked with, his name DJ Drez, and he would produce his own albums, and we get this artist in LA named Steven Lopez, who's like, he's into tattoo now, but he did a lot of street art, and he did like a lot of interior design and stuff for some big people. Steven Lopez, he calls himself Slopez, which I think is a cool name. But anyway, so I would deal with Slopez for these album covers as the record label guy, and communicate with him. And his website is, and I encourage you to check it out because he did some cool stuff, is ikeepmoving.com.
Okay.
And I've just, it's been probably 10 years since maybe even 12 or so since I encountered this guy. And ever since then, that's become just sort of like a mantra of mine, is
Hmm.
just keep moving.
That's very cool.
Especially getting to where I am in life and just realizing like I gotta like keep moving,
Yeah.
just to like, in physical terms, just to like stay where I am fitness wise, like use it or lose it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so when I like get bogged down, find myself like staring at a screen, looking at Twitter for too long or whatever, it's just like, I just think ikeepmoving.com, and that usually,
That's amazing.
get up and get going. But yeah,
Okay.
but just keep chipping away at those boxes and not to get caught up in the unchecked ones, but to just, go easy on yourself.
That's great.